Hey, everybody, it's Stephen and Anthony. We are back. It is the end of spring, getting close to the beginning of summer here in the East Coast, and we're excited to talk to everybody. The last time we met, we were talking about follows. We're talking about these strategy cards and what follows are, or what the different strategies are, and probably the two most classic strategies that come out of the Dalcroze camp are the follow and the quick reaction. And the quick reaction is maybe the most famous of the things that we do, or something that we recognize as, that outsiders might recognize as a Dalcroze exercise, because they get these cues that the teacher throws out, and then all of a sudden the class knows what to do. And so we wanted to take some time today to try to talk about the quick reaction and how it's similar and overlaps with the follow. And actually, both follows and quick reactions are things that we assume almost all music teachers are doing some version of, whether they have named them as this or not. Almost all of our basic music pedagogies would probably have something similar, or that could be classified as a quick reaction and follow. But in Dalcroze work, they are discussed, they are rehearsed, they are framed and become a really big strong arm of the things we're doing.
Yeah, I think that one of the things about a quick reaction and a follow for that matter, but a quick reaction especially, I think is a skill in and of itself that you're practicing to build that facility, to build that quick ability to pivot into a new meter or into a new rhythm or into a new dynamic or into a new, whatever situation spatially that you're in. The ability to do that is a skill to practice. Being good at that is helpful as a musician. And I think sometimes, yes, it's a great way to sharpen a musical skill or to acquire an understanding of a musical concept, but it's also just really good practice as a musician to be able to pivot your mind, your attention, your expressivity into that new element on a command.
There's kind of two things we want to make sure that we cover as we're talking about this today. One is just what is the quick reaction, which we can explain here in 20 seconds, no trouble. And then second, which is what Anthony's getting into, is like, what are some of the benefits of teaching with this kind of strategy? So we'll make sure we speak to both of these ideas. The first is, what is the quick reaction? And the quick reaction, as an exercise or as a strategy, is just you begin by getting something going. So any of our starter cards are all ripe for any quick reaction. So you have to get something going. So we do something together. That's always step one of basic any Dalcroze influenced exercise, is we're all going to do something, and we're probably doing it together. We're in unison, or we're entrained to each other in some way. And then in the follow that we explained last time, something will change, and everybody at some point notices, and then they try to change with it. But there's no advance warning that something's about to change. That's the follow. And maybe the thing that changes is that it just slowly speeds up, or it slows down, or maybe it's something as abrupt as you changed meter, or there was an extreme, don't do it on your knees anymore, now do it on your head. But nobody knew you were going to change. They had to notice it and then follow behind, and that's the follow. In the quick reaction, it's pretty much the same in that we're going to do something together. We're entrained. We're doing a thing at the same time. We're walking together. We're clapping together. We're patty caking together. We're singing together. We're something together. And then there's a cue that is offered, and the cue is given in advance of the moment the change is supposed to happen. In fact, it's given at the perfect time in advance of the thing that is supposed to happen. And then if you catch the cue and you know what it is cueing, then you as the participant have the ability to join the change at the perfect time. So there isn't any of this slight scrambling like we expect to see in a follow. Instead, we were doing the one thing, whatever it is, we're doing it together. And then on some specific beat, the instructor is going to, the teacher, the leader is going to give a cue, which could be, and we'll talk about that second, But they're going to say hip, or they're going to say go, or they're going to say seven, or they're going to say now, or they're going to say partner. They're going to give some kind of cue. And then at the appropriate next beat, everybody knows, oh, now it's time to switch partners, or now it's time to touch my head instead of touch my knees, or now it's time to skip instead of walk, or now it's time. And so because I gave you the cue in advance, it cues the correct way to come in. And ideally, the whole class is able to entrain perfectly to the cue.
Yeah, and that finding that right moment to cue is, you know, just a little bit of a skill, especially while you're improvising at the piano or while you're leading the activity, to find that right anacrusis, to be able to offer that with enough warning that the students know that that they have time to react, but also not too much warning that it doesn't become a challenge and it can actually then get a little sloppy if you leave too much of a gap. So finding that right moment to give the cue and then to bring it in. And the cue can be just about anything, as Stephen said, you know, a little tap on a drum, a verbal cue. The classic Dalcroze traditional one is to say hip or hop. So that's like the classic one. I don't use it because the hip hop thing has a different connotation for my students that I just find it to be distracting. But that's a traditional one. I've heard many different variations on oops or you know, up or down, or literally giving the command. You know, if it's a meter activity, maybe you're going to tell them what meter you're going to, so you'll say 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the command is, and you can be creative with that. I remember at the TMEA conference, remember when we were doing, it was a cat themed, I don't even remember how it became a cat themed thing, but we had the cue was like meow or hiss, and that was really creative because it worked into our cat theme. Or maybe that was why it was a cat theme, because somebody chose the meow as their, I don't remember exactly why that worked. But it came together. If you were at TMEA, you can leave something in the comments and let us know why that worked. Sky McManus will know. But
what I want to point out that there are all sorts of music games. You know, almost any of your, if you're going to, like, if we just think about elementary classes, there's lots and lots and lots. There's books have been published of, here's another game to play with your kids, and it's a song, and then it has this choreography, and you do these gestures at these certain points in time, and that's of course awesome. All well and good. It's lovely to learn a song and learn a game and know the rules and do the things. But many of those actually wouldn't count as a quick reaction because we know the script in advance. It's one script. This song, when you get to the chorus, you do this thing. And now when you get to the verse, you do that thing. And so it's all known. And what you're doing is you're learning the script, which is a version of learning the song. And again, it's great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a wonderful thing. I hope everybody will do lots of those kinds of games. But there's a different strategy under the sun that is not the same, which would be the quick reaction. And in a quick reaction interaction or a quick reaction game, nobody knows exactly how it's going to unfold. Whoever is leading the quick reaction is present with the class in an unfolding experience and has to choose when to make the change. And they're going to do it differently in this class than they're going to do in the next class. You're going to do it differently today than you're going to do 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks from now. Maybe you let more repetitions of we're all doing the same thing together. Maybe you let us all just be together longer today because the room's a little bit scattered and I just need the room to feel the ensemble of being together. And then on another day, you think, oh man, this group, they clicked. They did just click and they're just nailing it. They're all together. So I can more soon give them the cue for things to get crazy and for things to change because they're ready for the challenge. And so working with this strategy is not only helping your students remain attentive and focused, which it certainly does all of that, but it also is encouraging me, the teacher, to remain present with my students. I'm not just frustrated that they don't remember the script of the song that we're all supposed to be learning. I'm looking at how well they are staying with me. And then as soon as I think they're getting even remotely bored or like, this is dumb, he keeps doing the same thing over and over, long before they ever get to that point, here's where we can offer the cue. And now something changes and they're like, oh crap, I don't know the answers. I have to stay focused or I'm going to mess up this exercise. So the quick reaction is a killer classroom management strategy. It's a wonderful keep everybody focused kind of strategy. And you can make it as hard as you want, which is another sort of strong arm, is that there isn't just one answer. There's never just one cue if that's not enough. I maybe start with one cue, and then as quickly as we realize, oh, everybody does that cue so easily, I can layer more cues. And so I can give you the first cue, which means do this thing, or I could give you the second cue, which means do this other thing, or I could give you a third or a fourth or a fifth cue as we build up the complexity of the exercise.
Yeah, totally. And I think that one of the things about the quick reaction is it's a really good practice for internalizing things. If you can get the students to respond in a quick reaction, they really learn it deeply because they have to be so flexible with it and so ready to implement that new skill or that new element. So for instance, a lot of our starter cards are already suggesting you that you use it as a quick reaction. Here's one here that says, I can't get it to focus, but you can see on the bottom it says on command. They can
Start skipping, it says, yeah.
On command, start skipping, yeah.
So that command,
on command, that's critical.
Yeah, the command part sort of is assuming quick reaction. Like if you're giving a command, if you're giving a cue, then that's the first part of the quick reaction. And then the only thing that is remaining to complete the strategy is that the cue has to be given at a specific point in time, anticipating a very specific point in time to execute the cue, to actually do the command. If you're just giving a command like, whenever you're all ready, everybody find a partner, that's not a quick reaction. But if I am saying beat and beat and beat and walk and walk and walk and then partner, or maybe we're in 3 and we're walking and walking and walking. And then I say, and then find a partner, and we're ready for the next downbeat. So now I give them just enough time to do whatever the cue is. At that tempo, if we were walking and I say, partner, the second beat right after partner, that's too soon. Nobody would be able to nail that. No adult, let alone child, who's trying to play the game would be able to hear the cue and find a partner on the very next beat at that tempo as I'm describing it. However, if I set it up where it's maybe every 3 beats or give them some bigger amount of time, then they could. You could change in the space of 1 beat, walk forward, walk backward. So I'm walking forward, 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 forward. We're walking backward. Everybody would be able to catch it and come in time on the next beat. And so depending on what it is that you're asking them to do, then you have to plan out how much time everybody has. If you give them too much time, then they don't know when to come in. They either come in too soon or too late or whatever. And if you do give them not enough time, then everybody's frustrated because they couldn't do it. And so there's always sort of a perfect.
Yeah, and I think what is cool in the context of these starter cards is that we use the quick reaction as a way to sort of get the starter card going, right? It's actually not that big. It's not that intense. You just, hey, we're doing a walking and then skipping. We're going to use a quick reaction just to really get you feeling that difference between the walk and the skip. That's your starter. Then we could move on to another Make It Music card that would be, now we're in something else. We've used that quick reaction just to help us to really be able to get the sense of of the movement vocabulary, or the sense of the ensemble, or the sense of the gesture that we're trying to get. So in that starter card, sometimes we'll tell you to basically do something on command as a mini quick reaction in order to sort of internalize that starter card, and then you might move on into a Make It Music card. This one here is. Let's see, I can't read anything.
Identify rhythm patterns that are suggested by the movement.
Yeah, okay, yeah, identifying rhythm patterns. So now we've changed it. Now it wouldn't have to be a quick reaction at this point. We're taking the skipping pattern and we're going to come up with rhythm patterns that use the skipping. All right, that'd be great. That may or may not need to be a quick reaction activity, but we use that quick reaction just to get that skip happening and happening quick. So you can sometimes flow in and out of that strategy as just a way to kind of get a specific part of your activity working.
So another way to word what Anthony, I think, is describing here, is that the quick reaction can be the exercise. Like the whole point of this exercise is we're doing a quick reaction, but also the quick reaction can just be an element, and sometimes a very kind of like simple element of a bigger arc of participation. So it doesn't have to all be about it. They so easily come in. If we think of just the walk, then skip first card, so there are an infinite cues you can choose. The one I'm picturing today is I'm maybe accompanying at the piano, or maybe I'm singing a song, or I'm playing at the guitar, and everybody's walking with me. So again, we're doing something together. And then I could say skip, and then on the next beat everybody skips. But so much nicer, I think, in the way I'm hearing it in my head today, is that I either play a bell, or I tap a drum, or at the piano I go ta-ting, and I've been playing in sort of the middle part of the register. And if I give a high bell tone on a given beat, everybody goes, oh, I know what that means. That means he's about to start playing the skipping music. And the goal is to enter with the teacher in the skipping music, not miss it. I tell my older students, don't be surprised. And I tell my college students, tell your neighbor, don't be surprised when it turns into skipping, because they're not supposed to be surprised. I gave them the cue, and they're just on the edge of their seat waiting for that cue. And so we walk, kapling, and the very next is skip and skip and skip and skip and skip and skip and skip. You can either give the same cue as the toggle back and forth. So I could kapling again, and now it means walk, or maybe there's a different cue that means walk. So it's kapling means skip, and then dum dum means walk. And then, okay, he played a dum dum walk, kapling, skip, a skip, dum dum walk. I play a long heavy chord, and it means stand in place and bounce.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, because the skip and walk wasn't enough, my students got that in 20 seconds. I got to keep this moving. And so we can layer now. And so I'm up to 3 cues, one that means stand in place and chug or bounce, one that means skip, one that means walk. And then we can say, well, if I'm playing with 2 hands, if the music that I'm accompanying with is 2 hands, 2 lines, walk or skip with a partner. And if I'm playing 1 line, single line, just single line melody, then you're by yourself. And so that now is a follow inside my quick reaction. Because if I didn't give them a cue that says I'm about to play 2 voices, then it's not a quick reaction. But if all of a sudden they notice, oh, wait, I think he's only playing 1 hand, then they're following behind the realization that I'm playing with 1 hand, and they're now walking by themselves. And then all of a sudden I'm playing 2 hands, and they're walking with partners. And then I give them kapling, and now I'm skipping with my partner. Maybe we're linking arms and pretending we're little kids frolicking in the field. And if we're doing that, and then another one that I love and I use a lot is in that example, as I'm describing it, if we have partners and say we're skipping with our partners, if I call change, which is a spoken cue, then I want the 2 partners who are, if I can do this, the 2 partners here who have linked arms with each other, I want them to push the arms behind them, face each other, and then link the other arm to change walking the other direction. And so they were this way, going forward. I say change, they switch, and then they start going the opposite direction. And now they're walking all around whatever, going this way, until I call change, and on the next beat, they try to change and go forward. Change in that case is quick reaction, because I say it at a given time, and there's an anticipation that they would execute it at the given time. And so it's a cue paired with tight timing.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, these are really great activities to build. You can find almost any 2 or 3 different movements or gestures or rhythms or meters, and you can make a quick reaction and a follow activity out of them. You can add imagery. You can add, I mean, they're very, very simple and easy to put together, and very effective in a lot of different ways. So oftentimes I'll find myself noticing, oh, I've got 2 or 3 different gestures here that are within this little song we're going to learn, and I just make a quick reaction activity out of those three, and now I have a really great way for the students to practice those skills, also to sharpen their flexibility and their ability to respond to those commands. And so they're really, really effective ways to improve student musicianship and classroom management and all sorts of great outcomes that come from the quick reaction and the follow.
And then I'll just say it again. We're not only building focus and flexibility in the students, which of course, as Anthony just said, helps with classroom management and with morale and all of that. But because I'm leading in the moment in a way that isn't pre-scripted, but is reactive to my students, I'm working with them on what they need at the moment, then me, the teaching artist, is vibrant. I'm
Yes.
making something right now. I'm inventing, I'm improvising the exact pacing of this exercise relative to what my students need. And so at that point, it's so rewarding to me to get to be creative and alive and awake and present with my students. And so it ties it all together.
Well, great. So, drop in the comments. Let us know if you're doing quick reactions and follows. Make sure you visit www.make-it-music.com to order the cards and the book. Visit us on Instagram and Facebook. We're posting all sorts of great content there. We'd love to be in touch with you. Email us at mimdalcroze@gmail.com and let us know how the book and the cards are working for you. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.